He is oriented on this goal, that how can I build up my career. But the study of Bhagavad Gita is not just for career building. It is for character building. It is for building of one's character. So in this verse, so far, I'll give a little brief recap, because last week we did not come. And 15 days is a long time. And Kali Yuga, we have very short memories. 15 दिन पहले आप इस समय कहाँ थे? अगर मैं पूछूं तो बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा. सरल आंसर है, आप ही क्लास में थे. उससे पहले वाले दिन कहाँ थे? उसके बाद वाले दिन कहाँ थे? बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा याद करना. मुश्किल है या नहीं? एक साल पहले आप कहाँ थे, ये तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं याद है. कुछ नहीं याद रहता. So this 8th chapter is continuation of the 7th chapter, where in the end of the 7th chapter, Krishna introduced some new terms. While giving the knowledge of the Absolute, Krishna spoke about new terms. And Arjuna was very attentively hearing. So he was able to capture all those new terms immediately. That is how we should hear. We should hear to connect, not remain disconnected. And how we can connect? When we are hearing with attention. There should not be any distraction. And in Kali Yuga, to have attention and to have focus is becoming increasingly difficult. Every passing day it is becoming difficult. Why? Because we have so many deviations and distractions. Where it is coming from? It is coming from our mind, and it is coming from our possessions, the possessions that we have. So Krishna told Arjuna that you have to hear with attention. In the 7th chapter, he begins the 7th chapter by saying that you have to hear with attention. And where the attention comes, where is our attention? Wherever we have attachment, isn't it? Where our mind goes again and again. To those objects and to those persons who have attachment. Does it go to President Putin? किसी को पुतिन की याद आती है? नहीं. कौन पुतिन? कैसा पुतिन? यूक्रेन का और रशिया का वॉर हो रहा है, मुझे क्या लेना पुतिन से? क्योंकि हमारा उनके साथ क्या नहीं है? कोई अटैचमेंट नहीं है. कोई अट्रैक्शन नहीं है, तो उनकी कोई याद नहीं आती है. लेकिन जहां हमारी आसक्ति है, वहीं हमारा ध्यान बार बढ़ जाता है. तो क्या करना पड़ेगा हमें? हमें ध्यान सही जगह करने के लिए हमें अपना अटैचमेंट चेंज करना. नहीं तो ध्यान चेंज होगा नहीं, अटेंशन आएगा नहीं. एंड अर्जुना वॉज हियरिंग विद अटेंशन. क्यों? क्योंकि अर्जुना नोज दैट व्हाट कृष्णा इज स्पीकिंग फॉर हिज वेलफेयर, फॉर हिज अल्टीमेट गुड. जब तक ये बात हमें समझ में नहीं आएगी, तब तक हम आध्यात्मिक प्रगति नहीं कर सकते. आप में और बाहर के लोगों में क्या फर्क है जो IRI के स्टूडेंट नहीं है? क्योंकि आपको ये पता है कि IRI में स्टडी करने से आपका कैरियर बन जाएगा. वो बाहर वाले लोग इससे कन्विंस है? नहीं कन्विंस है. तो कोई IAS में ट्राई कर रहा है, कोई IPS में ट्राई कर रहा है, कोई और अलग अलग डिफरेंट ब्रांचेस में, डिफरेंट स्ट्रीम्स में ट्राई कर रहे हैं. लेकिन आपका कन्विक्शन उन लोगों के कन्विक्शन से स्ट्रॉन्गर है. आपका जो कंसेप्शन है वो क्लियरर है, इसलिए आप IRI में. They are not convinced, so they are trying in other areas. So Arjuna was convinced. And with this conviction, when Arjuna was hearing, so as soon as Krishna spoke some new terms, Arjuna was able to immediately capture it. And now Arjuna wants to connect to what Krishna is speaking. So Arjuna begins by asking, how many questions in this chapter? Just raise your hand. Don't ego. The people will not think. How many questions? 8 questions. 8th chapter begins with 8 questions. Who will be able to, share what are the questions of Arjuna? हाथ उठाओ. 8 में से कम एक बताओ. बोलो. Okay. Kim Tat Brahma. Brahma means what is the self? What is the self? Self means that which is eternal. Brahma means which is eternal. So what is Brahma? Okay. What is the next question? पढ़ना पड़ेगा। पहले सुनो ध्यान से, जैसे अर्जुन ने सुना, और फिर उसके बाद, क्योंकि हम अर्जुन की तरह तो हमारी इंटेलिजेंस है नहीं, मेमोरी है नहीं कि एक बार सुन लिया तो हमेशा के लिए छप गया, वो प्रिंट हो गया। ऐसा है नहीं, तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? अभ्यास करना पड़ेगा। वी हैव टू प्रैक्टिस। And what practice can do, we saw wonders with the kids. Because they are practicing every day. What is the next question? नहीं, आपने बता दिया। बाकी 8 से ज्यादा लोग हैं क्लास में। आपने एक क्वेश्चन बता दिया। व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन? आप लोग सुन रहे हैं? आपने, आप में से कितने लोगों ने 8 चैप्टर सुना है? बस एक ही ने सुना, बाकी किसी ने नहीं सुना? आप लोगों में से किसी ने नहीं सुना 8 चैप्टर? आप कोई मूवी देख के आते हैं तो उसमें पूछो हीरो ने कैसे मारा या कैसे लव सीन क्या याद है, फटाफट बता देंगे सब। व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन? किम तद ब्रह्मा? हाँ, थर्ड क्वेश्चन है, किम अध्यात्म? अध्यात्म मीन्स, if the living entity is eternal, what is his eternal nature? That means eternal nature is different from the present nature. So kim tad brahma, kim adhyatma, and kim karma purushottama? What is karma? Everyone is talking about performing one's karma. So what actually is karma? And then he asks about 3 more things. What is that? Adi Bhut, Adi Deva, and Adi Yagya. And also Krishna spoke that Prayan Kale. So all those who have taken birth, they are sure to have death. So at the time of death, what one must achieve? One must achieve perfection. This is what we have to practice. Everyone will face that day? Yes, no? Is there anyone who can have exception? No. Then what we have to do? We have to prepare. The human life is meant for passing the final examination, which is called death. And then if you fail, then entire life is gone, spoiled, waste. And if you pass, then you have perfected. So everyone who has taken birth, he has to face that test. He has to undergo that test. And Arjun also asked that at the time of death, how to achieve perfection? He puts it in a different way. He says, how one can remember you. Prayan kale chapima geo asmi niyatatmavi. How he can know you. So before leaving the body, what one has to know? One has to know Krishna. So at the time of death, when you ask, अरे बुलाओ लाओ गीता लाओ, अभी गीता लाओ, अभी देखते हैं कृष्णा कौन है। उस समय कुछ नहीं जान पाएंगे। तो कब जानना है? अभी, now. Now is the time that we have to prepare. So if somebody is thinking that I am, having so much of opportunity to do so many other things, why should I put my time, energy now? We don't know. Anyone can leave any time. And you see now, there are so many wars going on throughout the world. And with this new technology, no one knows which area can be bombed anytime, anywhere. And anyone can lose his life. Even so many countries are being dragged which have no connection with the war. So no one knows when the death will come. So if we don't prepare now, then what will be the result? Getting this opportunity in human form of life will go waste. So Arjuna puts these questions and Krishna very systematically begins to answer in this chapter. Yeah. And he explains these terms. So this chapter is in various sections. So in the first 4 verses, Krishna answers Arjuna's 7 questions. And the 8th question is how to remember you or know you at the time of death. So that Krishna answers briefly in the second section, which is from verse 5 to 8. What are the verses? Antakale cha mameva smarna muktva kalevaram ya priyati samadbhavam nati asti yatra samtama sanjaya. Yam yam vapi smarnam bhavam tajyante antkalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sada tadbhav bhavitam. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhachat. Krishna is giving this recommendation to be able to perfect one's position at the time of death. What one has to do? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. One has to always and at all times practice. So another name of Bhakti Yoga is what? Abhyas Yoga. You have heard? Practice makes a man perfect. If you don't practice, there is no question of any perfection. Most of the time people are in illusion. What are they thinking? That without practice they can achieve perfection. No. You have heard this saying, no pain and no gain. In any case, this material world is going to bring so many pains. So better take the pain where you get the ultimate gain. That is called intelligence. That is called wisdom. So how to be able to remember Krishna at the time of death? Krishna gives two processes. Everything in this material world, you will get more than one option. It is called Shreyas and the other is called Preyas. There are always two Vikalpas. Vikalpa means two options. One is called Shreyas. Shreyas means that will give you immediate benefit. And what is Preyas? Shreyas and Preyas. Preyas will give you immediate benefit. And Shreyas will give you the ultimate benefit. But for ultimate benefit, what you have to do? You have to make a big effort. So Krishna recommends the process of meditation, which is called the Ashtanga Yoga, what the yogi does. And Krishna gives the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is even superior to the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So in 9 to 13, he explains the meditative process. How one has to meditate. Anyone remembers? How many ways Krishna explained how to meditate on Krishna? बोलो सब कुछ जो हम पढ़ा चुके हैं वो ही बोल रहे हैं, कुछ नया नहीं बोल रहे. Verse number 9 and 9 processes. Simple. 9 processes. Kavim Puranam Anushashitaram Anor Aniyanusmaredya Sarvasya Dhata Ramachinta Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. So Krishna gives this process from 9th verse till verse number 13. How one can remember Krishna at the time of death by the practice of Ashtanga Yoga process or the mystic process. And then Krishna gives also the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is the easy process. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yovam Smarati Nityasha. Nityasha means always. Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. For him, I am easy to achieve. So Krishna is himself recommending that please follow the easy process. Don't go for the difficult process. But he has to be Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. He has to be constantly in my engagement. And such persons, they can attain perfection. Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. For them there is no rebirth. There is no again coming back to the cycle of birth and death. Such people are called Mahatmanas. Napnuvanti Mahatmana. Why? Samsiddhi Param Gati. Because they will achieve the highest perfection. So in this way, Krishna gives the two options. And in further verses from verse number 17 to 22, Krishna talks about it compares the material world and also the spiritual world. So we saw that comparison. In the material world, what is there? There is Hare Krishna. Aiye, welcome. So Krishna gives the comparison that the material world, there is always, you can sit here. Use the chairs, we have kept these chairs for you. So material world, it is again and again created and it is again and again annihilated. And who is the controller of this material world? How it works? According to the day and night of Brahma. When there is day of Brahma, there is creation, and when there is night of creation, night of Brahma, there is annihilation. But the spiritual world is beyond both. Neither there is creation nor there is annihilation. So in this way, Krishna has compared. And then in the next section that we are discussing, Krishna talks about how to attain it at the time of death. So again, he gives two options. One is the option of a yogi, a meditative practitioner, and the other is of a devotee. So the yogi, he depends on his own practice. And he has again two options. Either he can pass at the time of bright fortnight and he can get salvation. Or if he happens to pass at the time of dark fortnight, then he has to come back. We went to Bhishma Kunda. We saw a perfect yogi in the form of Bhishma Dev. He was on the bed of arrows. बाण शैया पे थे. How many days? 58. उस दिन बताया 55 नहीं है, लेकिन डिफॉल्ट सेटिंग चेंज नहीं होता. 58 days. 58 days what he could do? He could hold his breath. Can anyone hold his breath for 58 days? But still, his perfection was when the Supreme Lord appeared before him. And in the last two verses, Krishna is talking about that the devotee does not need to do all this. What he has to do? He has to only remain fixed in his practice, in his devotion. Last verse that we discussed, Na ete shruti parthajanam yogi muhyati kashchana. See the 27th verse. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhava arjuna. That although the devotees know the two paths, what are the two paths? Of bright and the dark fortnight. But they are not bewildered. Na muhyati kashchana. Muhyati means they never fall into any bewilderment or illusion. So Krishna is giving this recommendation that tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhava arjuna. That at all times you remain yoga yukta. What is yoga yukta? That means you remain connected in Krishna consciousness. How to remain connected in Krishna consciousness? By the practice of Krishna consciousness. Like you have a magnetic field, and in a magnetic field, what is the influence? With the influence of the magnetic field, any iron particle which comes in, it becomes like a magnet. It starts to work on the magnet. But till what time it will work? Till the magnet. Till the time it is in the magnetic field. If it is outside, it is iron. So how one can be yogi when he is yoga yukta? Yoga yukta. What is the benefit of being a yoga yukta rather than being a meditative practitioner? That is the final verse that we will take today. This verse is the conclusion of both the chapters, the 7th chapter and the 8th chapter. This is 8th chapter and verse number 28 we will discuss. Okay. Vedeshu yaggeshu tapashu chaiva दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपेति चाध्यम् वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपेति चाध्यम् वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपेति चाध्यम्. Now your turn. Please recite.
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव
पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम्
दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम्
येति तत्सर्वम् इदं विदित्वा
अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा
परं स्थानम् उपेति चाद्यम्
योगी परं स्थानमुपेति चाद्यम्. Very good. Good improvement. Very good. Proper. Very proper recitation. Practice. Don't leave it here. Yes. Try.
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव
पुण्यफलं प्रतिष्ठम्
दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रतिष्ठम्
अतेति तत्सर्वम् इदं विदित्वा
अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा
योगी परं
स्थानम्
योगी परं स्थानम् उपेति चैद्वम्
योगी परं स्थानमुपेति चाद्यम्. Yes, anyone from the back? Recite. कोई नहा.
तपस्सु चैव
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रतिष्ठम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपेति चाद्यम्. So Krishna is saying tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhav Arjuna. So then Arjuna may ask, but what about those who are not yoga yukto? They are performing so many other pious activities. What are the pious activities? Vedeshu. Vedeshu means, Veda means the books, scriptures, knowledge, Shruti. So the study of the Vedas, that is called Vedeshu. So who does the study of the Vedas? Mainly the brahmacharis. Like we, all of us, those who are in the brahmacharya ashram, our occupational duty is to study Vedas or to study scriptures. Then Yagyeshu. Who performs Yagya? Those who are in the household order. They have to do sacrifice. See, brahmachari and vanaprastha and sannyas, they are all in the renounced order. They don't earn. Who earn? Grihastha. So what Grihastha has to do? He has to maintain all the three. So what he has to do? He has to give charity. He has to perform sacrifice. So it is the occupation of a householder life to perform sacrifice. And tapashu, who has to perform tapasya? Those who are in Vanprastha. Vanprastha life means performing austerities. Although in these days, no one does anything. Uh, Does anyone leave home at 50? No. Even if they are on the verge of death, they don't want to leave, as if they will always live there. Uh, they don't want to leave their position, they don't want to leave their post, they don't want to leave their possessions. They are thinking as if they will live forever. But that was not the culture of our country, the Vedic life. Vedic life means that always there is detachment. Uh, when you were newly born, when you became 5, you have to leave house. Where you have to stay? Gurukul. Even you forget whose mother, whose father, whose brother, sister, anything. You only know your teacher and the students with whom you live. Your world belongs to them only. Even Lord Ram had to go. There is no exception. Everyone. As detachment develops, the next phase brings you complete detachment. You are free from that attachment. And in the life of Gurukul, after you complete Gurukul, then the teacher decides what you will be, not that I decide. That is why we have, in the modern era, what we have? Job dissatisfaction. Everyone is wanting to build up career. What is the understanding of career? The job that pays the most. But there is no question of one's satisfaction of the heart. So after you get enough money, sufficient money, then what happens? Then one is frustrated. That money is not giving him any satisfaction. So dissatisfaction is there. Job dissatisfaction is there. People change career. Why? Because they're dissatisfied. Why? Because they do not know what is their character, what is their competence, and what is their natural disposition. Without knowing what they do, they just try to imitate and follow what others are doing. Like a blind man is following the blind man. So what will be the result? If the blind man is following the blind man, both will fall in the trap. So the teacher used to decide after seeing the student for sufficient years, 5 years from the childhood. Then he knows what is his natural tendency, what is his natural inclination. So based on that, they were given the knowledge and training to perfect that area. Now everyone wants to be a IT professional. Why? Pay is more. So many, some banker also, I thought. I was one person who was a banker. He became an IT professional. Why? What compatibility it is? When in IERI people are coming, they join IERI and what they are doing? They are preparing for IAS. So why you have come here? Don't come here. Why you are wasting the seat of one student here? You should be focused. One should know, and then there is no confidence. Why there is no confidence? Because there is no competence. People are trying for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and what is the result? एक बार प्रीलिम पास हो गया था, बस लगे रहो गिरते रहो. Even if you become IAS, do you have that administrative skill in you? Do you have the power to administer 5,000 people? No, what they will do? That is what is there. Chaos. Complete chaos. So important. So previously the system was of Gurukul. So Guru used to see the student, and the student was there with the master for 24/7. So everything was known. Not that you come for a few hours and you hide. And the teacher does not know. Teacher is interested in money and the student is interested in degree so that I may get a job and I may get money. That's all. So this kind of education system is completely corrupt. It does not do any good to anyone. So this system of brahmacharya life was very, very important. It must be there. The training is very important. So if you live with the teacher, then you are forced to follow the teacher. You cannot hide. You cannot escape. So previously, the Indian Vedic system, the tradition was that there were 4 Varna and 4 Ashram. The society was divided into 4 spiritual classes and 4 social order. According to one's character and according to one's uh, likings. Not everyone can have the same liking. Is it the? No. So who used to decide who is suitable for what? The spiritual master. He will decide who will do what job or what service. So everything was very scientific. Krishna says, Chaturvarna Mayathishtam Guna Karma Vibhagyo. What is the division based on? Guna means the quality and karma means the activity. Now somebody is saying he is a Brahmana and what he is doing? He is smoking cigarette. What kind of Brahmana you are? You have no control. You cannot control the urge to smoke. And you are saying you are a Brahmana. You are a curse on the name of being a Brahmana. And then they want to flash their Brahman thread. Why you are Brahmana? Because I am born in a Brahmana family. Do you go to a surgeon and ask him, is your father surgeon? He says, yes. Then please operate me. Will you do that? Why not? Why not? Because you will run the risk of your life. You want to see his degree. You want to see his competence. You want to see his activity. डॉक्टर साहब पहले कितने ऑपरेशन किए, सक्सेस रेट कितना है, तब हम आपके पास आएंगे, वरना हम यहाँ नहीं जाएंगे, हम कहीं और जाएंगे. But what they are claiming to be Brahmana based on birth. Birth has no right. Birth gives you the opportunity, but you have to perfect that. So previously the system was it was centered around the spiritual master, Guru, and he used to train the student according to his quality. What inclination he has, what interest he has, where he is good at, where he can connect his heart. That area should be given. If you and I am looking at the kitchen, so we have some interest. Someone who has no interest, you put him there, what he will do? He will spoil it further. So very important. The guru is required, a guide is required to be able to assess. We cannot assess where we are good. We will say someday I am Kshatriya. मैंने सुना कि पाकिस्तान के साथ वॉर हो गया, मैं भी जा रहा हूँ फ्रंट पे. जा करेगा क्या? When you see there is a lot of profit in some business, I want to be businessman. What you will do? Whatever money you have, you will lose it. You cannot earn it. So many I have seen who do not think. Being business, you have to have that acumen of businessman. Not anyone and everyone, Tom, Dick and Harry can become successful in anything and everything. So very important. One should be able to assess what is the quality, and according to the quality, he should be trained. Then he will give good results. So these merits of Vedeshu, study of scriptures, Yagyeshu, performing so many sacrifices, and Tapashu, another Daneshu. So all these activities which give pious results or merits, they can at once be surpassed. Atyeti. Atyeti means to surpass. So Krishna is giving that one stroke solution which can surpass all other so many endeavors. Like if you have to go from Delhi to Mumbai, what are the options that you can go? You can go by foot, but when you will reach, no one knows. Even you don't know. Life may be over, you may not reach. Or you can go by bullock cart. Bullock cart is out of fashion now. Or there are so many. You can go by cycle, or you can try your own vehicle. But best is to go by aeroplane. You can reach immediately. So Krishna is giving that solution here. Atyeti tat sarvam idim viditva. Viditva means to know. So what the process Krishna is giving, which can surpass all other processes. What is that? Yogi param sthanam upeti chadyam. So a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas. performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this. And at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So, one stroke solution, which surpasses all other solutions. So, what is that solution Krishna is saying? One performs devotional service. There are two things that what we are uh, gaining to know. One is to become Krishna conscious, and the other is performing devotional service. This is only two things to be known. What is to be Krishna conscious? That we know who we are. Who am I? Ke ami? What is this material world? That is question he was asking. What is the question he asked? Adi Bhutam. What is this material world? This material world is ever changing. Changing or not? Ever changing. And who is the Supreme Lord? And what is the relation and connection between the three? It may look simple, but the understanding is not so simple because it requires purification. So this is becoming Krishna. If we know that we belong to Krishna, our connection is with the Supreme Lord Krishna, then one engages in devotional service. So first, Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. How to receive knowledge? That we are receiving from Bhagavad Gita. And it dispels ignorance. If you don't receive knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, then you receive knowledge from where? From man-made sources. And what man-made sources will say? That you are coming from monkeys, Darwin theory. How can man come from monkey? How can you show me any monkey giving a human like a baby? No, foolishness. Why? Because there is complete ignorance. There is no knowledge. And there is no base of knowledge. Where is the knowledge coming from? Speculation. Knowledge is not coming from authority. So this is Krishna consciousness. You understood what is Krishna consciousness? To become conscious of who we are. And mind you, this is one area in which even one lifespan is less. Why? Because Kali Yuga, the intelligence is not active. It is rusted. Again and again, we will think that we are this body. Again and again, we will be accepting that we are this mind. We will not be able to accept that we are spirit soul. Why? Because purification is not there. So as our Krishna consciousness increases, as we become Krishna conscious, then we can know who we are. And to become Krishna conscious, what one has to perform? Devotional service. So you are performing devotional service, nice. What is the devotional service you are performing? Shravanam. Hearing. Hearing from whom? Hearing from Krishna or his representative. So as we perform devotional service, our purification increases. As we become Krishna conscious, our illusion is removed. And as our illusion is removed, we become more and more connected to Krishna. And as we become connected to Krishna, we perform devotional service. So both is interrelated, both increases. One increases, the other increases. So here Krishna is saying that if you perform devotional service, you surpass all of them. What you surpass? The first study of Vedas. Actually, those who have done all this pious activities can only perform devotional service. Others cannot. What one has surpassed? The study of Vedas, the performance of sacrifices, the various kind of austerities, giving so many charities, all of this. These are all pious activities. But all this pious activity will not give you a permanent position in the spiritual world. Where it can lead you? It can lead you to the heavenly planets, where you will get opportunity to enjoy more. And when that quota is exhausted, again you are thrown back here. Like in a bank, you have a balance. Till the time you keep depositing, you can withdraw. But when you have stopped depositing and you continue withdrawing, After one stage, what will happen? Balance will be nil. Then if you want to withdraw, can you withdraw? No. Darshil, drink water. So very important. So we should not get stuck at the pious activity. What we have to do? We have to do spiritual activity. So Krishna is saying that what is that spiritual activity? You perform devotional service. And if you perform devotional service, you surpass the merit of all of them in one stroke. That is the conclusion of the last two chapters, the 8th chapter and the 7th chapter. Okay, clear now? Clear to this extent intellectually, what till the time we are here. So we must perform devotional service because devotional service gives us the perfection of human life. Devotional service enables us to remember Krishna at the end of our life. Why? Because if Krishna is pleased, he himself will come before us. That is how we can remember Krishna. No other way one can remember Krishna. It's a long purport. Let me try. I have half an hour. I'll be able to, I hope so. This verse is the summation of 7th and 8th chapter. So whatever we have studied so far, this is giving the conclusion, the crux, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. Here is the point. So every time we are hearing, we are coming on yatra, we are interacting, these two things must be strengthened. What must be strengthened? Our Krishna consciousness. That means our connection with Krishna. And second, whenever we have come in this association, we must find some opportunity to do service, devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penances while living under his care. That is for brahmachari life. Prabhupada says, a brahmachari has to live in the home of a spiritual master just like a servant. That is it. He does not have any right or authority. Does he have any right or authority? No. Not like today. In the schools now, even now, both of you are teachers, you don't speak much to the student. You will only tell them once, and if they agree, fine. If they don't agree, you leave them. Why? Because if you put a little bit of force, you will be in trouble. Anyone can complain. One devotee was mentioning that one of his friends, they were settled in America, husband and wife both working, and they had one son, around 10, 12 years. And he became very spoiled. So the father and mother tried to correct him and discipline him. If they did anything, he used to call the police. Simple. So they left them. And then the father thought that after some time, he planned that this time he will go for vacations to India. And when they flew from America, and when the plane landed in India, he started thrashing him. Left, right, and center. But now you call the police, you ask. This is what is the situation now. I remember one student, he told me clearly that Prabhuji, मैं correction नहीं ले सकता. क्यों? False ego is so high. False ego is so high. I cannot take correction. I said, your choice. Who am I to correct? If you don't want to get corrected, why should I correct you? It is your choice. So here, but that training, why? Because that training is not there. Mother and father, they have only one son and daughter, and what they do, they only pamper him. And they are the reason that the child gets spoiled. So how the discipline will come? Without discipline, human life is spoiled. It is like animal life. What is the difference between human life and animal life? Only discipline. So brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master just like a servant. So he has no authority, he has no right. Whatever the teacher says, whatever the spiritual master does, he has to abide. And to what extent? Prabhupada gives one example. He must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. ठीक है, भिक्षा लेने जाते हैं. Brahmachari means He does not earn. So how he will eat? He will go from door to door asking alms. Bhiksham Dehi. He takes food only under the master's order. So he will go door to door. He will bring bhiksha and he will prepare the meal and he will offer to the Lord and he will tell the spiritual master it is prepared. And if the spiritual master orders, then only he can eat. Can anyone accept this discipline now? They will leave. In our temple, if we don't offer prasad to brahmacharis one time, they will say, I am going back. Huh? So he takes food only under the master's order, and if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. This is called control or discipline or tapasya. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing the brahmacharya. So that is why it is very difficult to get brahmacharis now. Even if those who are brahmacharis, they are not pure brahmacharis. So this is the principle of pure brahmacharis. That what he should have such control of his mind and senses that he is not disturbed, he is not agitated. If he has to fast, he is okay with it, he is agreed. After the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20. So how many years? 15 years. He becomes a man of perfect character. So the purpose of study of Veda is for forming character, not for career. The career you can do any courses and you may get job. But what will the job do? Can it make you pass the final examination test? No. Study of Vedas is not meant for recreation or armchair speculator. So study of Vedas is not for recreation of armchair speculator. You understand what is armchair speculation? Those who are sitting nicely on the chair and discussing Bhagavad Gita. And what they do? What is the application of Bhagavad Gita? Zero or minus. Bhagavad Gita or scriptures are not meant for only speculation. They are for application. And if they apply, then what comes out? Character. But for the formation of character, after this training, so this training is very important. It should be there for everyone. Even in many countries still, there is compulsory military training. Few years back it was there. Why? Because if it is not given at the time of war, at the time of need, what can a person do? What will the citizens do? They cannot protect themselves, they cannot protect the country. Like today's world, huh? Today's scenario. After this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. Not everyone can become brahmachari. Brahmachari is not even 1% of the society. Because it is very difficult to be a brahmachari. It requires a lot of restraint and a lot of control to remain a brahmachari. But training is important. If one has been trained, then he can be a proper householder. If he is not trained, he will neither be a brahmachari, there is no question, and he will neither be a householder. So what he will create? He will create havoc wherever he goes and whatever he does. That is why if he enters into marriage life, what is the result? Separation, divorce, or conflict, quarrel, fights. This is what is it? What you know what is the divorce race now in metros, Delhi, Bombay? You will be shocked. Why? What is lacking? Training is lacking. When he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment. He must also give charity according to the country, time, and candidate, discriminating among charity in goodness, in passion, and in ignorance, as described in Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapter, Krishna will express. So, householder life, this is important. Two things are important. What are the two important things? Is to perform sacrifice, and second is to perform charity. If he does not do both, then he is actually not a householder. The Shastras called him not a grihasth. He calls him as a grahamedi. You remember what is Medhi? What does Medhi mean? Who remembers what is Medhi? We discussed in the second canto. Manini Mataji, what is Medhi?
प्रभु जी याद तो नहीं, लेकिन नेगेटिव है वो जो
नहीं, तो फिर मत बोलिए। याद क्यों नहीं है? याद क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि हमें मेहंदी बनने से कोई परहेज नहीं है, इसलिए याद होता नहीं। तो
जो
अगर
फॉलो
कोई हमें
नहीं
बोले,
करते हैं,
हाँ,
जो फॉलो नहीं करते हैं धर्म।
नहीं, नहीं, राम को ध्यान नहीं है। मनोराम प्रभु, यू गिव द आंसर। हु इज अ मेहदी? हु इज अ ग्रह मेहदी?
Prabhuji, Krishna is not the center, Prabhuji. He is
Of
self-introduced
course.
is the motive.
No, still your answer is not clear. Priyanka?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, who is a grey Mehdi? We discussed so much. This is second canto begins
Grandmothers
with
are
grey.
the envious person.
Sorry?
They are envious person.
No, but what is the primary characteristic? They are envious of other householders. But those who live only for the benefit of themselves and their extended family. That's it. That's it. They live only for their benefit of themselves or their so-called family members. So they are called Grihamanis. They have nothing to do with community, they have nothing to do with society, they have nothing to do with nation. They do not look for welfare of anyone else. What is it called? Completely selfish. One devotee was sharing one joke that one small fish asked his mother that there were so many fishes. So she asked, what kind of fish is that? So she said, this is starfish, the other is jellyfish. And then she saw one human. And yeah, what kind of fish is that? But this is selfish. The human race is the most selfish creature. So actually, householder life is a life of much more responsibility. They have to take care and support all other three ashrams. But in this modern era, modern? This is the most degraded era. There is no other three ashram. Neither there is brahmachari, nor there is vanprasth, nor there is sannyasi. So whom to support? Why to support? Become selfish. Then after retiring from household life, so see, when you have become 25, then you leave the Gurukul. Attachment became where? In Gurukul, because you spend so much of time, so much of learning, so much of gratitude, so much of regard. But then you move on. Then you enter the householder life. For how many years? 25 years. From 25 till 50. And by the time you have attachment, connection, relation, again you move. What is the life? Retired life or vanprasth. I don't see even 1% taking vanprasth now. No one is agreeing. This concept does not, uh, appeal to them. Why? Because they think that I have to live in the home till the time I exist. So retired life means a life of purification. This is called vanprastha. Then after retiring from household life, upon living in forest, dressing with, accepting the order of vanprastha, then he undergoes severe penances. Living in forest, dressing with tagri, not so these are not required. What is more important is that you become detached. You retire. Not that you retire, that you can go to the funeral or you can go to the coffin. No. What you can do, what you have not been able to practice spirituality throughout your life, now you should focus on that. Before you leave the body, you should perfect this human form of life. Because brahmachari training was not there. Household life was also not there. The life is of Grahamedi. then what is the opportunity? The opportunity is Vanaprastha. By carrying out the order of brahmacharya, householder, life, Vanaprastha, and finally sannyas, one becomes elevated to the perfectional stage of life. Some of then elevated to the heavenly kingdoms, and when they become even more advanced, they are liberated in the spiritual sky, either in the impersonal Brahmajyoti or in the Vaikuntha planet or Krishnalok. This is the path outlined by Vedic literature. This is what is there, step by step progression. Like you have class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, and then what you have after schooling, you have graduation, and after graduation, you have post-graduation. And after post-graduation, those who have excelled, what they will find? They will find job, they will find career, they will find, more engagements. So this is the normal way, the Vedic way. But Krishna is recommending not this way. Krishna is recommending the process of Krishna consciousness. The Prabhupada says, the beauty of Krishna consciousness, however, is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. This is Atteti Tattvam, Sarvam Idam Viditva. One can surpass all this in one stroke. Prabhupada says, the word Idam Viditva indicates that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And how to understand? One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees. This is most important. So in all our engagements in Krishna consciousness, this is the most important aspect that we always focus, is hearing in association. When we went recently to Kurukshetra, I took 6 classes in almost 1.5 days. So how much time? And we recited all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita in 1.5 days, which normally, even in a lifetime, most of the devotees had never done it. And otherwise, it will never come also. Not possible individually to be able to do it. First, we do not know the Sanskrit. Second, we do not know the recitation. We do not know the meter. And then neither we have the patience, nor can we sit. Can we sit to recite 700 verses? Leg will be paining, back will be paining, head will be paining, stomach will be paining, everything will start paining. But in association, it is possible. So it's very important. So Prabhupada is mentioning that what one has to do, one has to hear them in association. Chapter 7 through 12 are the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because this is Bhakti Yoga. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like coverings to the middle 6 chapters. So, like you see this book, and we have a cover. So, first 6 chapters is like the top cover, and the last 6 cover is the back cover or the bottom cover. Why? The cover, what it does? It keeps the content which is inside protected. But then, which are especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters, in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifice, charity, speculation, etc. This is what it is. Atteti tat sarvam idam viditva. One surpasses Vedeshu, Yagyeshu, Tapashu, Daneshu, everything. For one can achieve all the results of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness. So what will be the result of hearing? One will become Krishna conscious. The purpose of hearing is to become Krishna conscious and to be engaged in devotional service. Then Prabhupada says, one who has a little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee. On our own, no one can ever understand Bhagavad Gita. Because the beginning of the 4th chapter, it is stated clearly that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. What is the verse? in the 4th chapter, which is speaking that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. What is the verse? Online devotees, those who are hearing, you can answer. Where Krishna is explaining this? When Krishna starts to give this knowledge, he gives this recommendation also, that how this knowledge can be received. How this knowledge can be received? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo vidu. 4.2. Open. Just see. First, he tells Arjuna that what I am telling you, my dear Arjuna, I am not experimenting with you. I am not giving you anything new. Don't think that I am giving you something new which is not tried and tested. This knowledge is the most ancient knowledge. This knowledge I have already given to Sun God Vivaswan. And how this knowledge is coming down? It is coming in parampara system. What does parampara means? That it is passed on from the spiritual master to disciple, and then the disciple becomes the spiritual master, and he further gives it to his disciples. And that disciple becomes, that is the chain of disciplic succession. That is called parampara. So unless and until one has become a disciple, he will never ever be able to receive this knowledge. But now everyone wants to become a spiritual master without becoming a disciple. This is Kali Yuga. You found the verse? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo vido, but sa kalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. But the disciplic succession was broken. So I am establishing once again. How? Because I have selected you. I will give this knowledge to you. And who can receive this knowledge? Whomever you give. So that is why this is the most sweetest relationship in this entire world. The relationship between the bona fide disciple and a bona fide spiritual master. That relationship is based not out of any, loss or gain. It is based out of love and respect. The disciple loves the spiritual master and he serves them with respect. And the spiritual master also loves the disciple, and out of his love and his compassion, he gives this knowledge. So this knowledge is not contained in the book. This knowledge is contained in the heart. And it is transferred from heart to the heart. That is why Divya Gyan, Hriday Prakashita. One may study Bhagavad Gita entire year, entire life. He may not know all 700 verses, but understanding he will not have. Understanding when he will have, when Krishna will give. That right is reserved with Krishna. So here Prabhupada is explaining, Prabhupada is giving that realization that how one can be enlightened in Bhagavad Gita. So he is saying that one who has little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, because in the beginning of the 4th chapter it is stated clearly that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotee. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. No one else. One should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is the sign of faith. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara sanyatendriya. Jnanam ladva param shanti achirena digachati. In the 4th chapter, Krishna speaks this. That not everyone can receive this knowledge. Who can receive this knowledge? Who has faith. Where is the faith required? In the spiritual master. Unless and until he has faith, the element of faith, he can never become the recipient. When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotee's association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in the association of devotee, one is placed in devotional service. Very important. As one is advanced, he becomes Krishna conscious. And as one becomes Krishna conscious, he engages in devotional service. And this service dispels all one's misgivings about Krishna or God and Krishna's activities, form, pastimes, name, and other features. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one's study. Very important. What are the misgivings that we have? Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, and Matsarya. Can anyone say he is free of it? Can you find anyone in this world who can release you from all this? Can you find anyone? You have your best friend, ask him to help you. You ask him, he said, तुम अपना अपना तो हटा नहीं पाया, तुम्हारा क्या हटेगा? Huh? You go ask a doctor consultant, doctor said, I'll give you blank check. Release my lust. Can you do that? You cannot do that. So this gift is only with the spiritual master. Krishna has empowered him. Then Prabhupada is saying that after the misgivings have been perfectly cleared, one becomes fixed in one study. That is why we are saying that every Saturday come, but very few are coming. They cannot become fixed. Why? Because all these misgivings do not allow them to become fixed. What they become, again and again become deviated. When the times to show faith comes, they become deviated. Then what happens? They are not able to advance. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. So Bhagavad Gita is loving exchange between Krishna and Arjuna. It is love letter of Krishna. But one who does not have any love for Krishna, how can he understand love letter of Krishna? What he will say, मुझे तो नींद आती है. मुझे तो बोरिंग लगती है, प्रभु जी ये तो क्या है, आप कैसे पढ़ते हैं बार बार? ये वही क्या भगवान बताते थे, शरीर आत्मा शरीर आत्मा. So unless and until the misgiving, so one has to what one has to do? One has to find a devotee. Prabhupada is saying one has to find a devotee. And one is fortunate that he finds a devotee and in his association, he begins to study Bhagavad Gita. And he must have that faith. And when he becomes fixed in one study, then one relishes the Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna because this is Krishna's love for us. Bhagavad Gita is nothing else, but it is the condensed form of Krishna's love. But not everyone can access it. Only who has love for Krishna can access. This highest perfectional stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the spiritual sky, Golok Vrindavan, where the devotee becomes eternally happy. Hare Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the matter of attaining the Supreme. Very sweet. Most condensed, one of the most sweetest purports or commentary of Bhagavad Gita. You cannot find such commentary anywhere else. Why? Because this commentary is speaking Prabhupada's love for Krishna, which he has realized. Others cannot speak. What they will speak? They will talk about Vedeshu, Yagyeshu, Daneshu. Other commentary will talk about Vedeshu, Yagyeshu, Daneshu. They will not talk about Ateti, Tattvam, Idam, Sviditva. But for that you have to have surpassed that stage. So this is the conclusion of 7th and 8th chapter. What is the 7th chapter? Attaining the Supreme, knowledge of the Supreme. And 8th chapter is attaining the Supreme. When one is able to do that, when one gets the association of a devotee who is coming in parampara. So one gets the association of a devotee and he has faith and he hears from him what we have to hear? Bhagavad Gita. Nothing else. And when one becomes fixed in this, then gradually one will develop that higher taste. How he will develop higher taste? He is becoming Krishna conscious. And then he can relish Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada is saying, in that state he can be transferred to the spiritual world, the spiritual sky, Golok Vrindavan. Okay? So in this association, we have completed the study of 7th and 8th chapter. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Now for you, if you have any question, query, some doubt, please ask. Online, those who are hearing can ask also. Anyone can ask. My watch is showing exact 9. Not on time. You can extend 5 minutes. No questions? Our teacher says that it means 2 scenarios. One, that one has not understood anything. That is the high probability. Krishna may say whatever, you may say whatever, but my mind will say I'll do what I feel like. That possibility in Kali Yuga is very high. Second possibility, that I have understood everything, I'll apply. That is very difficult. Very, very difficult. Okay, so we'll conclude. I don't see any genuine hand or any question coming. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So next time we will begin the 9th chapter, but I request that at least go through 7th and 8th chapter. You get 2 days of off, Saturday and Sundays. So spend some half an hour going through the chapter. Try to understand. Try to understand. Read this purport again and again. Our intelligence does not connect to what the message is. So try to connect. Hare Krishna.